Look at this. Victor. He did something to the core bots. And then he ordered them to attack the crawlers? Kai, do you read me?
So this is ReCore. It's a third-person action platforming shooter. It blends the genres together rather well and harkens back to the PS2 days in terms of how it feels and plays. Made by the same people that gave us Metroid Prime and Mega Man, there is no reason why this should not be an excellent game, you might think. But interestingly enough, I didn't see much fanfare made of this game leading up to its release, and there has been little talk of it since that big day. So let's dig in and see if ReCore is any good.
Come on, guys. Let's head to the E-Tower.
You play as Jewel, a young woman who is very agile and fairly good with a rifle, and that's a good thing since the game is heavy on both combat and platforming. Jewel is an absolute pleasure to control. She can dash, double jump, and air dash all while aiming and shooting at the same time. She also has a grappling hook of sorts that she can use to rip the core out of the robots that she's fighting. The combat is color-based. The enemies will come in all different colors, and as you progress through the game, so does your ammo. You can damage any color enemy with any color ammo, but if you match colors, you will end up doing more damage. You also acquire core bots, which will help you out in combat, and that you can upgrade later. They do a decent job of flanking and diverting the enemy's aggro, letting you get a better angle, but they also have special attacks that they can do for heavy damage. This game absolutely shines in combat.
They look like they're overheating.
The platforming in ReCore is done very well. The levels are smartly laid out for the most part and present a decent challenge. The reason the platforming is so good is that the air control is done almost perfectly. If you miss a platform, then it really is you missing it. The control is very precise and allows you to fine-tune exactly where you want to go. The only time things get frustrating is when the camera decides to change for seemingly no reason. A few times I was lining up a jump and then the camera decided to shift and I missed it. But those were few and far between, not nearly enough to be an issue. Overall, the platforming is very solid.
It's okay, Seth. We can do this.
The corebot mechanic needs some help, and maybe there will be an update that helps alleviate some of the pain here, but once you progress enough to get more than 2 corebots, you then have to choose which 2 to take with you. The reason this is an issue is because you need to use certain corebots to solve certain puzzles, and you don't know who you need until after you get there and figure out what to do. So if you have the wrong ones with you, you have to fast travel back to your base, swap bots, and then travel back. Thanks to fast travel, this is not as painful as it could be, but I use the term fast travel loosely. I use the term fast travel loosely because the loading times are atrocious. Now, I reviewed the game on Xbox One, so I imagine it may be faster on a PC with a fast hard drive, but I can say that without a doubt the loading times on my Xbox are hilariously long. Over 2 minutes in some areas, and never really less than about 45 seconds it seems. In gaming, this is an eternity. So when you run into the corebot issue, it becomes an issue of, do I go back and fix this now? Or do I just play something else? The game inflates its playtime by using a system where you need to have collected a certain amount of prisms to proceed. These prisms are obtained by completing missions, defeating certain enemies, and finding them. A large amount are hidden away in the dungeons. Completing the dungeons earns you one, but you can get more by completing multiple challenges in that dungeon. Some are much easier than others. So if you just want to play the main missions and see the story, well, too bad. I don't really care for doing side missions during a game. I prefer to complete the story and then go back and do the side stuff. However, I knew about this going into the game from other reviews, so I made sure to do every side area that I could and scour the land for prisms, so I never really experienced the whole, hey, you're almost done, but you need 20 more prisms, go a side quest for hours and come back, mechanic that a lot of people ran into. I ran into that wall in Dragon Age Inquisition. I hated it then, and I would have hated it now. You can upgrade your core bots just fine. You can build new gear for them, individually upgrade their damage, defense, and energy, and save your favorite loadouts. It's actually fairly nice. But you control Jewel, and Jewel does level up like her companions, but all she gets is basically a new number. Her rifle levels up to the next level, allowing you to deal more damage to enemies based on their level, and that's about it. I would love to be able to craft new gear for Jewel, new abilities, and maybe spend points on her as far as damage, defense, or energy. There should have been more customization for Jewel so the player can tailor her to their playstyle. I realize that they meant for the core bots to fill that spot, or at least that's what I imagine, but it just doesn't feel the same. The only upgrade the rifle gets is the ability to use different color ammo. Well, it's certainly worth playing, I think. I had a great time with the game. Most of it was due to how well Jewel controlled. The rest of the game could be utter shit, but still worth playing because of how well she plays. But luckily, the game is interesting enough to keep you going. While there are long loading times, stupid progression requirements, and for me, an unsatisfying leveling system, the good parts of the game easily outweigh the worst of it. The good parts of the game are all gameplay, and the weaker elements are things you basically just have to deal with in order to keep playing the fun parts. And in the end, it's the gameplay that determines if a game is good, and the rest determines if the game is going to be great. And ReCore is definitely not a great game, but it's new at $39, and if you were a Prime member on release, you could have picked it up from Amazon for about $31 like I did. And I definitely feel it's worth that. I imagine this game will take some price drops soon, so if you think you can pick it up for around $20 or less, that's probably a no-brainer. But if you watch this review and think that you may enjoy it, then go for it. I still feel it's worth full price. And if you're still on the fence, then by all means wait for a deal. But like I said, if you can get it for about $20 or less down the road, it's absolutely worth that. So anyway, that's my look at ReCore on the Xbox One. I hope it helps shed some light on it for you. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and maybe a share, and consider subscribing if you're not already. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.